We all know that feeling, right? Like you understand English pretty well, maybe you can read articles, follow movies,
Mm.
but then when it comes to actually speaking, sounding natural, like you belong in the chat, that can be such a hurdle.
Oh, absolutely. It's a really common place for learners to kind of get stuck, moving from
Okay.
just understanding to speaking smoothly,
Mm.
naturally.
Yeah.
That's the tricky bit. And, well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
Perfect, because we've been looking through Speak Like a Native English conversations for daily practice. And honestly, it's got some surprisingly straightforward but really powerful ideas.
It does.
Think of this deep dive as your way to unlock that more confident, natural English sound just by using something you do anyway.
Yeah.
Talking, daily conversation.
Exactly. Our mission here is to pull out the really practical strategies from this source, show you how to weave daily chats in whatever form they take into your learning so you get that authentic feel.
Okay, so let's start with this whole idea speaking like a native. What are we really aiming for here? Because, like, it's not about suddenly getting a flawless American or, British accent,
Yeah.
right? It's got to be more than just how you sound.
You've really hit on a key point there. The source makes it clear it's much less about mimicking a specific accent perfectly
Right.
and much more about getting the hang of the natural rhythms, the phrases people use
Yeah.
without thinking. It's about sounding comfortable, you know, at ease in just, well, everyday situations.
Gotcha. So it's those little everyday things native speakers just say. The source mentions things like, what's up? Instead of maybe a super formal, how do you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Or checking understanding with a quick, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And even just agreeing to plans with something casual, like, yeah, I'm down for that. Little things, but they signal naturalness.
They really do. And it's not just the single phrases, it's also how words get linked together often.
Yeah.
Like the source points out, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Often just sounds like, do you want to go?
Yeah, that connected speech thing.
Exactly. Catching on to those natural contractions, that smoother flow,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big part of sounding more, well, native-like.
Mm-hmm.
It adds to that feeling of fluency, of ease.
Okay, so we want those everyday phrases, that connected flow. Makes sense. Now, why is actually doing it, having these daily conversations, so much better than, say, just burying your head in a grammar book? What's the secret sauce there?
Well, think about learning pretty much any skill,
Mm.
right? Like playing guitar or maybe tennis. You can read all the books.
Sure.
But the real progress happens when you actually do it, when you practice. Language is the same. Textbooks give you the rules, the theory.
Mhm.
But conversations force you to use it right now
Yeah.
in unpredictable ways. That active use, it just builds those brain connections way better than passively reading.
That's a fantastic analogy. Yeah, it's like reading about swimming versus actually jumping in the pool.
Exactly.
And the source makes a good point. This doesn't have to be like hours of intense practice daily. Even small, regular efforts add up.
Absolutely. Consistency is really the key. The source highlights that even, say, 10 minutes a day focused on speaking practice can make a real difference over time.
10 minutes, that feels doable.
Very doable. And the great thing is, you don't always need someone else there to practice with.
Right. That was interesting. While chatting with friends or language partners is obviously great, the source talks about just talking to yourself, which sounds maybe a bit odd, but could be super useful.
It can be surprisingly effective
Hmm.
because, talking to yourself removes all the pressure. There's no fear of making mistakes or being judged.
Okay, yeah.
You just get to try things out loud, formulate thoughts in English. It's actually a brilliant way to build up your confidence and just get words flowing.
I like that anecdote in the source, the one about someone just narrating their day in, say, French. Like, okay, I'm making coffee now, or, what should I watch tonight? It seems a bit funny, maybe, but
That works.
yeah, it seems like such a practical way to just surround yourself with the language, start thinking in English more directly.
It's a fantastic technique. You're basically creating your own little immersion bubble, even if you're alone. It forces you to grab vocabulary, build sentences on the fly, just like a real conversation demands.
Okay, let's make this concrete. The source uses a coffee shop role play to show this kind of natural language in action. So let's imagine that scene. You walk up, ready to order.
Right. And what's so great about this simple, everyday scenario is how much natural, casual language is just packed in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the barista might say, sure thing, that'll be $4.75. Want a receipt? And you might reply, no thanks. Oh, actually, could I get an extra shot in that? These are the kinds of phrases people use constantly.
Totally. Things like, sure thing, just a relaxed, okay. or coming right up when they're making it.
Yep.
Even that standard question, do you want a receipt? It's routine, but maybe not something you focus on in a formal class.
And that's the whole point the source is making. These everyday bits, these conversational routines, they're the foundation of spoken English. Getting comfortable with them makes everything feel smoother, more natural.
Okay, so for listeners who maybe don't have loads of chances to chat with native speakers every day, what are some specific things they can do to practice speaking alone? The source had some really good ideas here.
Yeah, definitely. One really powerful one is called shadowing.
Shadowing, okay.
Basically, you listen to native speakers, could be podcast, YouTube, anything, and you immediately repeat what they say right after them.
Ah,
You try to copy everything, the pronunciation, the intonation, the rhythm, the speed, as closely as you can.
the source even suggested recording yourself doing it and then
Yeah.
comparing your version to the original. That sounds like a really direct way to hear where maybe your flow or sounds are a bit off.
It's excellent feedback, yeah. Another really practical tip, use the voice input on your phone or computer more.
Oh, like voice to text.
Exactly. Instead of typing a message or a note, just speak it in English. It forces you to articulate clearly, practices fluency, and hey, it can help your pronunciation too.
I like that. And I'm a big fan of the next one, mirror practice. It sounds a little weird at first,
Yeah.
maybe, but actually talking to yourself in the mirror. The source says it helps with expressions, reactions, even practicing asking questions and answering them. It encourages you to be expressive, even a bit dramatic or funny.
And what's great about the mirror is it adds that visual element. You see yourself speaking English, you notice your body language, your facial expressions. It can really boost your confidence for real interaction.
That makes sense. And the last big strategy mentioned was focusing on learning language chunks.
Yes, this is so important.
So not just single words, but whole phrases that often appear together like, I'm not sure about that, or it depends, or could you tell me?
Exactly. Learning these chunks is like getting pre-made building blocks for conversation. It means you don't have to construct every single sentence from scratch, word by painful word.
Right, it lets you sound more fluent because part of the sentence is already there, ready to go.
Precisely. It frees up your brain to focus on the next part of what you want to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so to give everyone listening something really concrete to try, like today, the source lists some great everyday conversation starters, simple things you can use immediately. What are a few of those?
Well, a really common, slightly more casual way than just, how are you, is how's it going? You hear that everywhere.
Standard.
If you're seeing friends you haven't seen in a bit, what have you been up to lately? That's a very natural opener.
Yeah, I use that one a lot. And for just easy general chat, something like, did you catch that game last night? Or did you see that show on Netflix? It's an easy way in.
Definitely. Find common ground.
Yeah.
I also I've been meaning to ask you, it sounds quite natural, quite fluent.
It does. It softens the question somehow.
And maybe to build a bit of interest, you could try, you won't believe what happened today. That usually gets people listening.
Yeah, the classic hook.
But the key thing to remember when you use these, or any phrase really, is that it's completely okay to pause, to think, even to, stumble a bit or make a mistake.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The source really stresses this. Native speakers aren't perfect either. We use fillers all the time. It's just how people talk.
It really is.
So the aim shouldn't be this impossible ideal of perfection. It should be about actually connecting with people, communicating.
That's such an important mindset shift. Focus on being understood, on having that exchange, not on achieving some kind of flawless robotic English.
Okay, so let's try and bring it all together then. If we boil it down, what are the main takeaways from this deep dive? How can you really use daily conversation to speak more like a native?
I think the core message is prioritize real talk, make it central to your learning,
Right.
practice consistently. Even short bursts every day add up hugely.
Don't wait for hours you don't have.
Exactly. And please, don't let the fear of mistakes hold you back. Focus on getting your message across, on fluency over perfection.
Embrace the messiness.
Yes. Learn those common phrases, those language chunks we talked about. They're shortcuts to fluency. And get creative with practicing speaking, even when you're by yourself. Shadowing, mirror talk, voice notes. Use the tools you have.
That sums it up really well. And I think the source reminds us that language, ultimately, it's a tool, right, for expressing yourself, connecting, just enjoying things more.
Absolutely. Shouldn't feel like just a chore or a test.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with, something the source really inspires.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you feel 100% ready to speak English. That day might never come if you wait for perfection.
Good point.
Start today. Just speak. Be okay with it being a bit messy. Be brave enough to try. That's where the real growth happens, not in waiting.